Hello all, my name is Krish Naik and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, a new playlist. Some days back I had actually uploaded like how ChatGPT was trained, and ChatGPT, as you know, it is an LLM model. Again, it is based on generative AI techniques itself. So in this video also I'm going to discuss what exactly is generative AI completely from basics. The reason why I'm creating this particular playlist because I feel that in this upcoming 2 years, right, there will be job related to specifically generative AI because there are now many startups getting opened who really want to work in generative AI. They're creating their chatbots, they're creating their image generation tools, video generation tools, and many more things, right? And this is all possible because of generative AI. I hope everybody has also heard about prompt engineering, right? And a lot of job openings are also related to prompt engineering. This playlist will focus on covering all this kind of topics. In this video, we're just going to focus on generative AI, but later on, as we go ahead, we are going to discuss about LLM models, LangChain. I'll be showing you practical implementation, how you can create your own custom LangChain models or LLM models just by using OpenAI API itself. And again, some amount of prompt engineering also. I'll discuss about all these terms in this video also. But as I start every playlist of mine, I really want to consider it from basic topics. I really want to discuss where does generative AI falls into picture, whether it is a part of deep learning, where does it fall in deep learning, what is the differences between the deep learning models that we learned in CNN, RNN when compared to generative AI. All these things will be covered in this topic. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Share with all your friends because there are a lot of interesting contents that are going to come up, right? So let me go ahead and let me share my screen because this is some amazing materials that I've created you for this particular tutorial itself, right? Related to generative AI. So first of all, I hope everybody knows about what is AI, artificial intelligence, what is machine learning. We usually say machine learning is a subset of AI, as you can see in this diagram, and deep learning, if I probably consider, it's a subset of machine learning. In machine learning and deep learning, we basically learn two important types, that is supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning. I hope everybody knows the differences about supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning. Supervised machine learning is nothing but it is specifically if you have labeled data, right? At that specific point of time, we use supervised machine learning. You can solve problem statements like regression, classification, forecasting, many more things as such. In deep learning also, we have supervised and unsupervised techniques. In this specifically, we learn about CNN, we learn about RNN, we learn about different NLP concepts, we learn about object detection and many more, right? And before, I think in my channel, I've covered almost everything along with projects, end-to-end implementation and many more things. Everything you'll be able to find out. That is the reason why I'm now upscaling more, because definitely many people had actually requested about generative AI. But now the question falls that where does generative AI fall into picture? So that is the reason I have created this diagram. Generative AI is the subset of deep learning. Very much clear. You can see this green color circle. It is a subset of deep learning, right? And again, what is the main aim of generative AI? I'll just let you know in some time, right? You will probably be heard about large language models, LLM models, right? One of the example is ChatGPT. Right, so ChatGPT is an LLM model. You also have Google Bard, right? These all are LLM models, and this kind of models are trained with huge amount of data, right? And definitely all the NLP simpler tasks like text translation, text conversions, or acting as a chatbot itself, text summarization, all those tasks can be done by this LLM models itself. Where does LLM model fall into picture? Again, it is a subset of deep learning and it has some properties merged with generative AI. I will be discussing more about large language models, but if you probably check out my previous video, how ChatGPT is trained, right? I have created a dedicated 30 minutes video with respect to that. ChatGPT is a kind of LLM model and it is based on generative AI. We'll discuss about more like how you can create your own custom LLM models by using LangChain, many more things as we go ahead. But right now, let's focus on the basic, guys. Always try to learn things from basics. When you try to learn things from basics, trust me, your knowledge will be very good. You will be able to crack interviews, right? Now let me go ahead and let me talk about deep learning. In deep learning, till now, probably whenever I say about CNN, ANN, RNN, right, these all kind of models are called as discriminative models. In deep learning, you specifically have two things. One is discriminative, right? We basically say discriminative techniques. The other one that we specifically say is called as generative techniques, right? Now, that is the reason why I'm saying you, because generative AI will be a part of generative technique. In discriminative technique, you will be doing tasks such as classification, prediction, right? The data set is trained on labeled data set, right? In discriminative. So image classification, cat and dog classification, object detection, and then classifying, right? All those parts are the part of discriminative technique. Whereas if I talk about generative, tasks such as you generate a new data trained on similar data set, right? So let's say that I'm training my generative model on a huge Wikipedia database. So what it will be able to tell you different kind of answers, sentence completion, right? It can actually help you to generate new data itself. Let's say you have a generative model which has been trained with some music. It will be able to generate its own music. Or you give the part of the music, it will be able to train with respect to it will be able to give you the output of the new music itself. ChatGPT, what it is doing, you're giving some input over there, it is being able to explain you some output or give you some output with respect to considering some context. And again, the output is fabulously right? And that is how you're doing a conversation with ChatGPT, right? So generative models, right? So usually in deep learning, when I say discriminative, this is based on supervised, unsupervised, and semi-supervised, right? And similarly in generative, you don't need to provide supervised data set itself. You can provide different kind of data set, because here you also require reinforcement learning, right? So in generative AI, what you specifically do is that you give unstructured content for the training purpose. It will be huge data set from internet, from websites, from tutorial websites, right? It will not be a specific labeled data set as such, right? It will just try to, in this kind of supervised and unsupervised model, it tries to see the relationship between the input and the output. Here, it tries to see the relation between the distribution of the data, specifically in the generative AI, right? And this is becoming really popular. Specifically, if I talk about two amazing things that are probably going to come up, right? And many companies are working in this. One is generative language models. ChatGPT is a generative language models, right? And one more specifically is called as generative image models. I hope you have heard about DALL-E 2. What is DALL-E 2 doing? It is taking a text, it is converting into an image, right? So it is being able to generate a new image. From a specific image, it can even create videos. Super important, guys. It is important that you know where does generative AI fit. It is a subset of deep learning, and it specifically works on huge amount of data. You don't need to specifically provide labeled data. It is not possible. When you have a huge amount of data, it will just try to see the distribution of the data. It will try to find out the features that are related to the distribution of the data within that, and will be able to create this kind of models, right? Now, let's see one example with respect to discriminative technique. Let's say I have some labeled data. I have some music over here, and this is labeled like this, whether it is rock, classical, right? So this is my labeled data. And this kind of data I pass to my discriminative model, and it is being able to classify whether it is rock, whether it is classical, or whether it is romantic, right? So this is basically a kind of prediction classification, right? This is called as a discriminative technique. Over here, obviously, I can use RNN, I can use LSTM RNN, I can use different kind of techniques over here, right, to do the prediction. But if I talk about generative technique, in generative, I will give the music, right? I will be probably training my generative model with different kind of music. And then based on this distribution, it will be able to generate the new music, or it will be able to complete some music. Like let's say I'm giving some initial tone to my generative models, it will be able to complete the remaining tone, right? Stories, right? If you ask ChatGPT, write me a story where two AI are probably talking about like how AI is going to change the future in the world. If I just give this text, my generative models will be able to create a story regarding that, right? So that is how, in short, whenever we talk about generative AI, it is creating new data. It is generating new data, in short, right? So this was what is generative techniques. Again, let's see one content over here, how the training process works. I will be having an unstructured content, which will be going as an input with respect to the generative AI model. It learns patterns and distribution in unstructured content. Obviously, it is not so simple There are a lot of other techniques in generative AI. The main purpose to make the accuracy better. Human supervision is also required. The kind of reinforcement learning, the feedback through reinforcement learning is also required. If you really want to know the detail more about it, like you can definitely check out my video, like how ChatGPT was trained. From there, you will be able to clearly understand. This kind of materials only I have created over there, right? So the generated output will be the new content. Okay, it can be a text, it can be music, it can be image, it can be videos, it can be multiple things. So in order to just distinguish between generative AI, whether an application is a generative AI or not, if your output is in the form of number, class, probability, categories, we can categorize that it is not a Gen AI. If the output is in this form. But if the output is in the form of text, audio, images, video frames, then it is a Gen AI. Okay, so basically it is generating text, it can generate audio, it can generate images, it can generate videos, many things as such, right? Now guys, why Gen AI is becoming very famous, why this Open AI API, Google Bard API can really play an amazing work, because later on I'll be using even Google Vertex. There is something called as Generative AI Studio. I'll be showing you every practical example over there, like how quickly it is being able to generate, and even you can use that particular APIs itself in order to create your own custom chatbots, in order to create your own custom this kind of models, which I have actually mentioned over here, generative image models. Even that option is also there, right? So how machine learning is involved till now? Initially in machine learning, in deep learning, or let's say in ANN, we usually had features. We have independent features, we have output feature. Right? My model used to see how is the relationship between this independent and the output features, and based on that, the prediction was done. Then came deep learning models. In deep learning models, we are able to give images, we are able to give video frames, and then we are able to perform tasks like image classification, object detection, right? Even there, when we are giving these images and images specifically or video frames, we are not saying that, okay, this feature belongs to this, like it has cat eyes, let's say cat versus dog. There we are just specifically giving images. In this, we give like, okay, cat has 2 ears, two eyes, one mouth, something like that. The ear shape can be pointy, the nose shape can be this, right? These are the features that we usually give in machine learning. But in deep learning models, specifically related to CNN, RCNN, all the object detection technique, there we are just giving images or video frames. And then we are able to do the tasks like image classification and object detection. In case of generative AI, it is very simple. Consider you are a human being, okay? I give you a book that is related to cat, let's say, okay? I've given you a book related to cat, like say 500 pages, 5 different books. You have learned that all in 1 month. Now, generative AI will act in such a way that if I ask you any questions that are related, let's consider that you have now become a ChatGPT for cats, okay? Now, if I ask you a question, you are able to give the response, and that response, I'll just ask, okay, tell me about cat. And you'll be giving multiple different answers, 2 to 3 lines of answers. Then I can ask you more information about the cat. What does cat usually like in terms of food? Then you will be able to give the own answer. That is how this kind of generative AI language models are basically trained. Specifically, I'm talking about generative language models. There will be different kind of data that will be available. The models will be trained on that specific data. And then as a generative AI, whenever a question is specifically asked, you will be able to generate your own output, okay, through this kind of models. And similarly, you also have generative image model, wherein you give kind of images, you'll be able to generate images, you'll be able to generate videos, you'll be able to generate another image, right? And similarly, in generative language model, whenever you're giving text, right, you can see in ChatGPT, if I give text, translation can be happening, summarization can happen, Q&A can happen, image generation can happen, video generation, text to speech can also happen. In ChatGPT right now, this 3 functionalities is not there. Probably in ChatGPT 5, in GPT-5, it will be coming. They are targeting, obviously it has been announced that even image generation, video generation, text to speech will happen, right? Now you may be thinking, Krish, fine, this all are very good. But how do we use this? And that is where you can probably use this OpenAI API and you can create your own chatbot through prompt engineering. Prompt engineering basically means through what format you will be able to get your response. That kind of format you can basically train your own custom models with. right? And this is the job right now. It is very much popular. Even in US market, you can see that people are getting good amount of money. People who know how to work with OpenAI API along with prompt engineering techniques, different techniques, right? That how you can probably get the response. That is specifically called as prompt engineering. The way you get a response from an LLM model is all dependent on this prompt engineering work. And again, I'll be creating a series of tutorial with respect to prompt engineering where we'll be using OpenAI API itself, right? So I hope you like this particular video. I hope you got an idea with respect to generative AI, because there are many things that are going to come up with respect to this. In the next video, we're going to discuss about LLM models. As I always suggested, I always try to take it from basics. Please do wait. There will be many videos as we'll go ahead in this specific playlist. So yes, this was it from my side. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day ahead. And please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Take care.